All right, let's dive into this incredible system of power progression. Seriously, this is a true masterclass in combat metaphysics. We're going to break down how a warrior evolves from just pure speed to literally controlling the elements and the entire battlefield.
So, think of this as a fighter's journey up a staircase of mastery. Each step up reveals a more complex, a more powerful technique, going from overwhelming speed all the way to absolute strategic control. It's gonna be a wild ride.
First things first, let's set the stage. A new, much more dangerous threat has shown up, and it's forcing our hero to evolve way beyond his previous limits. And you know, this isn't just about getting stronger, it's about getting a whole lot smarter.
Man, this line just perfectly establishes the stakes, doesn't it? It's not just one enemy. It's this terrifyingly interconnected force of nature. They're not just four separate bad guys. They are a living, breathing system of destruction.
And what's so fascinating here is the hierarchy of this threat. You've got Eros, Asakal, and Apollo, and their whole job is to act as amplifiers for Raichu, the lightning wielder. And they all serve the final boss, Siren. What this means is you can't just charge in. You have to strategically dismantle the system that empowers them, starting with those catalysts.
So how do you face a challenge like that? Well, the very first step is a radical leak in speed and combat efficiency. This is the absolute foundation that everything else is going to be built on.
Now, this is not just about moving fast to create some kind of illusion. No. This is about achieving a state of real multiplicity. And that's a totally mind-bending concept because it breaks the rule of one body, one action. Each of these afterimages can make physical contact. That means the user is effectively fighting in multiple places at the exact same time.
So what does this mean? It means Hozik is essentially thinking with 7 parallel streams of consciousness. He's making instant judgments for 7 different fighters all at once in a battle that's changing every millisecond. The level of mental processing is it's almost inhuman.
But of course, even an incredible technique like this has its flaws. It's raw, it lacks real fighting experience against a whole variety of opponents, and at its core, the user is still just a single person who can be figured out. See, an experienced fighter uses more than just their eyes. They can sense intense, air currents, and they can bypass all the visual trickery to target the single source. And that limitation right there, well, that sets up the need for the next step on the staircase.
That vulnerability leads us directly to our next step. And this one isn't about more power. It's a complete rethinking of what defense even means. The idea is, if you can't be everywhere at once, then you need to control where your opponent can be.
I love this slide because it just illustrates the shift perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way of thinking, an impenetrable wall of pure power. But on the right, you have the new philosophy, a frustrating strategic maze. It's a move from brute force to psychological warfare. The goal isn't just to stop a punch anymore. It's to make it impossible for the opponent to even throw the punch they want to throw.
This is what completely transforms the shield from a passive barrier into an active, almost offensive tool that controls the entire battlefield. You're forcing the enemy down these predetermined paths, leading them right into your counterattacks. It's brilliant.
Okay, now we climb to a truly metaphysical level. This is where combat becomes a dance of elemental affinities and wavelengths. We're moving beyond the purely physical into the fundamental rules of this world's energy. Master Fencer lays out the core principles right here. You see it moves from basic movement all the way to advanced strategy, and it all culminates in the most important concept for this next stage, neutralization.
So the crucial point here is that this isn't about blocking an attack. It's about fundamentally canceling it out on a metaphysical level. By matching the energy's wavelength, you just render it harmless. It's kind of like perfect noise cancellation, but for a magical attack.
And this is where it all comes together in a stunning display of adaptability. It combines the multiplicity of the Killer Ghost Frenzy with that core principle of elemental cancellation.
This is the technique in action. The user becomes this blur of changing elements, neutralizing each unique attack, one after another, in sequence. And by doing this, they're not just reacting anymore. They're controlling the rhythm of the entire fight. They're creating openings on purpose to dictate the flow. It really is a true dance of combat.
And that brings us to the pinnacle of individual defense. A technique so advanced, it turns the very air around you into a weaponized trap. This is proactive defense at its absolute most extreme. But first, a quick aside on purpose, because this isn't just about power, It's about the spirit and morale you need to wield that power effectively. The duty of the Phoenix's spirit is to be that unwavering core that prevents the whole group from breaking when faced with psychological warfare.
You know, the absolute genius of this technique is that it's an invisible defense. It defeats opponents before they can even get close. You literally don't see the wall, but the moment you step into the zone, the fight is already over for you.
It's basically a two-pronged trap. It neutralizes both close-range threats and long-range threats with pure elemental manipulation. There's a reason they call it absolute. It accounts for every single angle of attack.
And for our final step on the staircase, we see how all of this incredible individual mastery gets synthesized into an ingenious, team-based grand strategy. Because, let's be honest, even absolute power can be amplified when you work together.
So Harry's seemingly simple little doodle here is actually a complex, mutating defensive formation. It takes that individual zone of absolute defense and scales it up to a massive team-wide system. You've got layers of domes, conductive rods to direct lightning, airtight layers of ionized air, and then an afterimage is placed in each layer to neutralize any attacks that get channeled in. It's a reactive system designed to counter the most unpredictable enemy imaginable.
And this is the ultimate validation. It's the moment the master strategist recognizes the sheer genius in his student's unconventional plan. It's that moment where theory, training, and trust all combine to create a real solution.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question about the nature of order versus chaos and what it truly takes to achieve victory. Is perfect preparation actually enough to tame an unpredictable storm? Well, that's the ultimate test, isn't it?